Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. We are on to the next lecture on periodic classification after completing all the periodic properties. Till now we have completed atomic radii, ionization energy, electron gain enthalpy, electronegativity. So if you have understood those properties properly, then we can also discuss about the metallic, non-metallic nature. So in this video, we will be covering metallic, non-metallic nature, nature of the oxides and diagonal relationship. So please watch the video till the end. Okay, so let's begin with metallic, non-metallic nature. Now down the group. Let's first write what all properties we have studied so far. Atomic radii we know is increasing. Ionization energy decreases. Actually, we require only these two to explain the metallic and the non-metallic nature, right? Because if the radii is big, if the size of the atom is big, that means what will happen? The distance between the nucleus and the valence shell will be more. Yes, if the size of the atom is big, the distance will be more. Radii is more, that means ionization energy will be less. If ionization energy is less, we can say that the metallic nature increases. So we can say that down the group, that is applicable for any group. For all the groups this is applicable, okay? So metallic nature down the group increases. So if you are asked why it is increasing, because the distance is increasing, hold of nucleus over the last electron decreases, so they are able to lose electrons more readily, and metals are those which can lose electrons readily. So for metals we will talk about ionization energy. When we are talking about non-metals, we will say the gain of electron. Okay, so let's see now across the period. Across the period, what happens is the atomic radius decreases. We will not talk about ionization energy here because non-metals are those which are gaining electron. So across the period, they cannot lose electron readily, they can gain. So we will say electron gain enthalpy increases. So they are able to gain electron more readily. When they can gain electron more readily, we will say that across the period, non-metallic nature increases. So what are we going to write? Non-metallic nature increases across the period, metallic nature increases down the group. Right? We can also say this way, down the group, non-metallic nature decreases, but that will not be right for S block elements, because S block all the elements are metals, though in the P block there is a clear distinction. You have P block mein it's a mixture of metal, non-metal and semi-metal. So for P block we can say even in the group, for P block even in the group we can say that metallic nature increases down the group or non-metallic nature decreases. Right, but overall this is the thing what we write. Now another property which can be related along with metallic and non-metallic property. What are we saying here? Metals are those which can lose electrons readily. Metals are those which can lose electrons readily. So when they can lose electron readily means we can say they are undergoing oxidation easily. They are undergoing oxidation easily. When they are able to undergo oxidation easily means we can say they are good reducing agents. They are good reducing agents. So down the group we can say that down the group oxidation ability increases. Means they can undergo oxidation readily. And the reducing nature will increase down the group. Across the period, non-metallic nature. Non-metallic nature means we are talking about gain of electron. They can gain electron readily. Across the period, their ability to gain electron easily increases. So the reduction, they are able to undergo reduction easily, we can say. The gain of electron is nothing but reduction. They can undergo reduction easily. Therefore, we can say the oxidizing nature will increase. Oxidizing nature increases across the period. These all properties are related. I hope you followed it. Down the group, reducing nature increases. Across the period, oxidizing nature increases. So we can say that down the group, ability to lose electron is increasing. Ability to gain electron is decreasing down the group, right? Across the period, we are saying that they are able to gain electron readily. So overall, if we put together both, what we can say is that alkali metals, they are largest in size. Since their atomic radius is maximum, we can say their ionization energy is the least. Okay, their ionization energy is least means we can say they are most metallic. They are most metallic nature. Yes, alkali metals are most metallic, right? So when they are most metallic means we can say alkali metals are those which can undergo oxidation readily. Alkali metals can undergo oxidation readily. So if we are saying they are able to undergo oxidation readily, we can also say that alkali metals are very good reducing agents. We can say that alkali metals are very good reducing agents. I hope this point is clear. This is a very, very important aspect. Alkali metals have the maximum radii. That means they can lose electron readily. So that means they are most metallic. Oxidation, they are able to lose electron easily means they can undergo oxidation readily. Therefore, they are very good reducing agents. Suppose you are asked to write down alkali metals are very good reducing agents, justify. How are you going to justify? You will just club all this point. Right? Now, across the period, their ability to undergo reduction increases. Their oxidizing nature increases. So which element, which group is there at the end? Not the noble gases, because they can neither lose nor gain. Halogens. Halogens, since they have the configuration NS2 NP5, so they need just one electron to be stable. So that electron they can gain very readily. Okay, so we can say that halogens, they can undergo reduction readily, most readily. They can undergo reduction readily. When they can undergo reduction easily means they are very good oxidizing agents. Oxidizing agents. So we can conclude that the halogens are the best oxidizing agents because they are smallest in size, atomic radii is very less, electron gain enthalpy is very high, they can gain electron readily, therefore we can say they are able to undergo reduction easily, therefore they are the best oxidizing agents. So there can be two questions framed from here. Alkali metals are good reducing agents, justify, you will club all these points. Halogens are good oxidizing agents, you can club all this. Fine till here? Now sometimes there is a question asked like that. Down the group we are saying that the reducing nature is increasing. Yes, reducing nature down the group is increasing. That means the best reducing agent should be this. But you will find that lithium is the best reducing agent. Why? Same way here, this is the halogen group. We expect, because electron gain enthalpy of chlorine is maximum, we expect this to be the best oxidizing agent, but you have fluorine as the best oxidizing agent. So what reason you will write here? You will explain like this: any element, suppose M, I am talking about this first. Any element M, if it is in the solid state, because these metals are in the solid state, first this is to be converted to gas, then that gas is to be converted to iron, then that iron is to be converted into the aqueous state. In the aqueous state it will act as oxidizing or the reducing agent, right? So the energy involved here is the sublimation energy, energy involved here is ionization energy, energy involved here is hydration enthalpy. I've written with the signs, plus means endo, minus means exo, right? This is fine for cesium. Cesium will be able to get converted here easily. This also fine for cesium. Cesium can lose electron readily, but this hydration enthalpy for lithium is maximum. This is the main deciding factor. Hydration enthalpy for lithium is maximum because it is smallest in size, and we say hydration enthalpy is inversely proportional to size. So smallest size of lithium is hydration enthalpy is most negative. It is most liberated. That is why it becomes the best reducing agent. So if you are asked why is lithium the best reducing agent though its ionization energy is more than cesium, you will write because of the maximum hydration enthalpy. Same is for here. These are actually in their molecular state. Since both are gases, let me write from gas. X2, I am writing for chlorine and fluorine. This X2 first should break and form X in the gaseous state. Then this X should gain electron and form anion in the gaseous state. This anion now should form aqueous ion, right? This energy involved is the bond dissociation enthalpy because molecule is breaking to form atom. Atom is gaining electrons, so energy is liberated, electron gain enthalpy. That anion gas state mein is gaining water is added, so electron hydration enthalpy is liberated. We say that this bond dissociation enthalpy for fluorine is less. Here fluorine is the least. Only one positive point for chlorine, that is the electron gain enthalpy. This is only maximum for Cl. But for fluorine, the bond dissociation enthalpy is least. So what two reasons you will write? Bond dissociation enthalpy for fluorine, positive points I am writing. Bond dissociation enthalpy for fluorine is the least out of these two, fluorine and chlorine, not otherwise. Otherwise we are going to study in class 12, right? Iodine is the least. Bond dissociation enthalpy of fluorine is lesser than chlorine, that way you can say. And hydration enthalpy is maximum. Because fluorine is smallest in size, this will be getting hydrated to the maximum extent. So because of these 2 points, fluorine is the best oxidizing agent, though electron gain enthalpy of chlorine is maximum. We mean to say chlorine can gain electron most readily. That means this should have been the best oxidizing agent. Even then fluorine is, because only one positive point is there for Cl, that it can gain electron readily. It cannot form an atom easily. It cannot liberate hydration enthalpy. So to that extent, in fact. So fluorine is the best oxidizing agent. It is a better oxidizing agent than Cl, though electron gain enthalpy of Cl is more because of these 2 points. Bond dissociation enthalpy is less, you can say, than Cl. Second, hydration enthalpy is more. The overall deciding factor will be the sum of the energies. Got it? Now, since you have understood the metallic, non-metallic nature properly, we can also talk about the nature of oxides. Metallic nature increases down the group. So we can say that down the group, basic nature of oxides is increasing, because metals form basic oxides, and across the period non-metallic nature is increasing. So we can say acidic nature increases across the period. Acidic nature is increasing across the period. So I have written few groups, few group and period oxides so as to explain. This is first group. All are metals, basic nature increases down the group. In case you are asked to arrange them in the increasing order of their basic nature, cesium, this is most basic and these are least basic. Down the group, the basic nature increases. Same is applicable here. I already told you it will be bad on our part to talk about the gain of electron or non-metallic nature for metals. For this side we can say, because p block elements consist of the mixture of metal non-metals. So for P block we can discuss. So we will be discussing now. Across the period acidic nature. So if I am talking about this is the third period. If I am talking about the third period elements, we will say this is basic, this is basic. Let me write, this is basic in a circle. Let me write, otherwise you'll get confused. This one is amphoteric. Aluminium oxide is amphoteric oxide. Silicon is acidic. This is all acidic. Across the period, acidic nature increases. So first two are basic, aluminium is amphoteric, and these are all acidic. Let us see this. This is the 15th group. Nitrogen, phosphorus, they are forming acidic oxides. These are acidic. Arsenic, antimony oxides are amphoteric oxides because they have semi-metals also. And this is Bi2O3. Yes, this is basic. Here you might ask, this is 5, sorry. This is Sb2O5. You can see here N2O5, P2O5, As2O5, Sb2O5, but bismuth we write Bi2O3. Why bismuth cannot have 5? Because bismuth has inert pair effect. It has inert pair effect. Due to lanthanide contraction, the pair of s electron becomes inert. It doesn't participate, so bismuth cannot exhibit +5 oxidation state. It can have maximum of 3. So bismuth cannot form Bi2O5. Got it? So in any period you can write the oxides. In any group you can write the oxides and discuss their acidic or the basic nature. So in metals, that is in S block, we cannot say they are, the top ones are acidic, the bottom ones are basic. They are all basic, but basic nature increases. But in case of the P block, we can say that the upper ones are acidic, then amphoteric, then basic, because they have a mixture. Okay, they have a P block is a mixture of metal, non-metal and semi-metal. Got it? This is clear. Now the last thing which we have to discuss is the diagonal relationship. This is diagonal relationship. Now this is second period element. This is the third period element. Now what is diagonal relationship? It is seen that some of the elements in the second period show similarities with the elements in the third period, placed diagonally to it. Okay, they are placed diagonally to it. Some of the elements in the second period, they have the properties like the elements in the third period, which are placed diagonally opposite to it. Like for example, lithium. Lithium exhibits diagonal relationship with magnesium, boron with aluminium, beryllium with aluminium, boron with silicon. Right? I will repeat. Lithium with magnesium, beryllium with aluminium, boron with silicon. Lithium, though a member of group 1, it has properties like group 2 member magnesium. Beryllium, though member of group 2, is behaving like group 13, that is aluminium. Same way boron, member of 13th will behave like silicon, that is 14th group. Okay. Now this is just observed in the second and the third period elements and not to all, just only these 3 pairs. So there are 3 diagonal pairs in the periodic table, and why it is found only in the first member. Like in the first member only it is found with respect to magnesium. Why? Because down the group size increases, across the period it is decreasing. So these are supposed to have the similar size, electronegativity. Okay, so actually there are 4 reasons why the first member is not behaving like group 1. Lithium is not behaving like the other members. Beryllium is not behaving like the other members. Boron is not behaving like the other members. Why? Because the first member of each group is having comparatively small size, large charge by radius ratio, electronegativity is high, and it is not having d orbital, absence of d orbital. So these are the probable reasons why the first member of these particular groups do not behave like the members of its group. Okay, so when we will study about the group properties, you will find that many of the lithium properties will be like magnesium, beryllium will be like aluminium, boron will be like silicon, and so on. Okay, so these properties are for lithium, beryllium and boron, which make them not like their group members, they make them like the next group member, which is diagonally opposite, present in the third period. Okay, so by now we have completed now all the topics of periodic classification. Please practice it well, and thank you for watching. You can share the video with your friends so that all get benefited, and please like it and put your comments in the comment section. Thank you for watching.